I live in a small town in Bozeman, Montana. A few years ago, I bought a small piece of land outside the city to build my dream cabin. It wasn't huge, about 2 acres, but it had trees, a creek nearby, and a beautiful mountain view. For the first year, everything was peaceful. My neighbor, Tom, owned the property next to mine. He seemed friendly at first. We waved at each other, talked about the weather, and sometimes he'd help me move lumber when I was building the cabin. Then one day things got weird. I came out one morning and saw Tom installing a fence that cut across the corner of my property. At first I thought maybe he made a mistake, so I walked over. "Hey, Tom," I said. "That fence is on my land." He laughed and said, "Nope, that's always been part of my property." I showed him the property map I got when I bought the land. He shrugged and said the old owner told him the boundary was different. At this point I was confused but not worried. I figured a survey would clear everything up. So I hired a professional surveyor. A week later, the survey results came back. And just like I thought, the fence was about 15 feet inside my property line. I showed Tom the survey. He looked at it and said, "I don't care what that paper says. That land's mine." Now I was getting angry. That 15-foot strip might not sound like much, but it ran across almost the entire side of my property. I asked him politely to move the fence. He refused. So I sent a formal letter asking him again. Still nothing. Finally, I filed a case at the local courthouse. The court hearing was surprisingly dramatic. Tom showed up with a bunch of photos and tried to argue that he had used the land for years, so it belonged to him. But the judge asked one simple question. "Do you have any legal documents proving that?" Tom didn't. I showed the survey, the property deed, and the official boundary records from the county. The judge ruled in my favor almost immediately. Tom was ordered to remove the fence and pay the court fees. The best part? A week later, I watched him spend an entire afternoon tearing down the fence. He was so confident about. We haven't spoken since. But every time I sit on my cabin porch and look at that extra 15 feet of land, I smile a little. Sometimes the best revenge is just having the paperwork